That gwent will be the end.
My hand shakes so bad, I cannot hold my tools.
Walking on water. Just like...
Like who?
Like a pond skater. Who are you thinking?
No matter. I suppose you thought nothing else in life could surprise you, eh? Wrong.
Hey, happen to know how the hell I can walk on that water?
Naturally, I know. Since time immemorial have I dwelt in solitude on this shore, and I can testify to the extraordinary nature of the lake.
What's so extraordinary about it? I mean, besides the fact...
A sword, most wondrous. The blade may be grasped solely by one.
Folk call me a lot of things.
Yet I do know. You have proven yourself. You are a man of humble means yourself. Your valor, reason guides your actions. You have proven the fact.
Mean the sword's mine? I can...
The sword deserves the hand of a master. You must prove your skills are worthy.
Anytime.
Then draw your blade.
This, my favorite part of the
You have proven worthy of wielding the blade, beyond all doubt.
Behold, your Arendite.
met before.
Certainly. The hermit admitted he knew you, remember?
The Lady of the Lake.
It is I. Forget not that you are a man right and honorable, devoted to doing good. And for these reasons you received the blade. Now bear it. And I trust this time you shall not lose it.
Just wonderful. Run, Roach. still be here. Throat torn open by man-like jaws. Man-like, except for long fangs. Busted ribs, blood from the ears. Took a solid hit. Massacred by a vampire. Not an Ekimara, though. Or a Fletter. Bruxa. Gotta be. In the cellar. Gotta be. Blood and moon dust. Could be lifesavers. Footprints. Small, bare feet. Lead deeper into the cellar. Fell down the stairs, broke his neck. You. Saw you at the inn. I know what you are. Don't know why you killed these people, though. Clearly wasn't for their blood. We don't have to fight.
You are wrong.
I cannot let you leave.
Get to the body. What's she doing at the table, though? Stinks. Waterlogged. Both hands amputated. Body was quartered just as I thought. Laid in water for some time. Head swollen, and something took a few bites out of it. Something in the throat. A pouch, bulging with coins. Nilfgaardian florins, from several different provinces. If the murderer did this, means we're dealing with a sentient, thinking beast. Body was chopped up after death. Blows struck with great force, but bones sliced through, not crushed. Creature that killed him had long claws, sharp as a witcher's blade. First sank its claws into the victim's heart. No Bruxa did this. Third hand. A spare. Except it's clearly not the victim's. Guardsmen must have not noticed it as they picked everything up. How's this possible? Still warm. Blood still flowing? Several monster species can regenerate. Never heard of that happening to their severed limbs, though. Or of their limbs seeming completely alive after so much time. Examine the tissue more closely later. Might learn something. So, murderer was clearly a monster, but not a Bruxa. But then why'd the Bruxa come here for the severed hand? And who does the hand belong to? Now, pouch shoved down the victim's throat. What's the significance? And why was he chopped up into pieces? Lots of questions, no answers so far. Need to know about the other victims. I'll ask Palmerin to get me in to see the Duchess.
Giant belched forth the world.
Need to speak to the Duchess, urgently.
All right, you scamps. Story's done. Go find your parents.
But the Palmerine, what about the story of Rittik and the dragon?
They're tales for another time. But take a good look at the man who stands before you now. This is Geralt of Rivia, the master witcher who lent his valiant hand to the defeat of the giant Goliath.
Master Witcher, is it true virtue always trumps villainy?
Not always. Could go either way. Sometimes virtue wins, sometimes villainy gets the upper hand. Still worth being good.
But why? If it doesn't mean you'll win.
Palmerin's story. Think back. A decent man attracts other good folk, makes friends he can count on. The rogue? Well, you can only count on other rogues. And who would you rather have for a friend?
A man of virtue?
I must agree. Now, that will do for questions. Go find your parents. Her Enlightened Highness has doubtless arrived at the tourney grounds to watch the battle in the arena. If we hurry, we'll be in time to speak with her before the spectacle begins.
Lead the way. Who's fighting? Nilfgaardian gladiators?
Close, but not quite. As you will soon see.
Someone's gonna fight a Shalmar with only some bells on its tail to confuse it, slow it down?
Whatever is the problem? The beast is a gift from the Emperor, no less.
Shouldn't torment the beast. How would you like to be dumped in an arena, blindfolded with a string of bells dangling from your ass?
Pity a monster. You, a witcher?
I slay monsters who are a threat to humans. You're out to humiliate one to entertain a crowd. No knight will gain any glory from this. Let's go.
I dedicate my imminent victory to fair Lady Vivian.
It's begun. The fight shall have to end first. We must wait.
Got a bad feeling about this. Damn it. We have to help him.
The beast heaved its foul girth. Let loose a roar and drop you to earth. Out came the Witcher in one mighty bound. It fights, its plans confound. The fate of the beast is made on the Shelma lies defeated by Geralt of Rivia, master of the witchering trade. Behold, it's the last gasp.
Master Geralt, do what you must. Finish the deed!
It's suffered enough.
The monster lies slain! The fight is done! Praised be the victors!
Guillaume,
The lad came damned close to dying.
I'm fine.
Smile as befits a hero and keep silent.
Geralt, we must talk. Vivian.
You shall talk later.
Geralt, magnificent, breathtaking.
Your Grace.
We knew that to summon you was a brilliant idea.
And I'm truly...
See to our young hero. Hop, hop, for we must make off with it. We had been long awaiting your arrival. Had nearly lost...
Your Grace. Shaelmars are dangerous creatures, even to knights in full-plate armor.
Nonsense. In Toussaint, knights have battled beasts for mere glory since time immemorial. True. Guillaume suffered a few bumps, scars, and bruises, but it...
What about the crowd? Say the Shaelmar had vaulted into the stands. Would have been a massive...
Geralt, though we value your fortuitous intervention in the arena, we would remind you your services have been retained, and as shall soon become clear, you will...
Your Grace, my contract...
Naturally. We shall need Damien. He led the investigation pending your arrival. But wherever could he be? Come. Tell us, have you come alone? Or did Viscount Julian accompany you?
Wish to see Dandelion, Your Grace?
Yes. I mean, no. Yes. But solely to tell him we regret. Yes, deeply regret rescinding the death sentence we so justly handed down upon him. If we could turn back time, we would make certain he sat in a tower till he rotted. No, we would ensure he was broken on the wheel, then drawn, hanged, and quartered. Ah, the very man we would entrust with his tar.
Your Grace. Witcher.
Greetings. Sorry to have to tell you, but the guardsmen handling the last victims...
I know already. The
No. A Bruxa, a kind of vampire.
You know this how?
Through careful analysis of the evidence, both on the riverbank...
Do you mean to insinuate the investigation thus far?
Geralt insinuates nothing of the sort.
I examined the body of the beast's last victim. Might have found something. Need to analyze it. A quiet place, that's what I could use most right now. And maybe the help... Also like to hear all you know about the previous victims.
Firstly, call me Damien, please. Secondly, I've heard much about you. You bring trouble, or thus far have, always. And we've enough trouble as it is. Yet we are capable of defeating the beast on our own, without...
Damien, we settled the matter of the Witcher's employ some time past. Definitively. Since you have broached it nonetheless, are the legends true? Do Witchers usually demand that which you find at home, yet did not expect?
Not quite, Your Grace. Law of surprise? It's something we invoke at times, but rarely. Usually we just take gold.
Disappointing. This law sounds rather romantic. On the other hand, on returning to the palace, we would likely find impatient petitioners or a set of sample fabrics for a new dress. I fear you'd not have much use for any of the surprises we are... Thus, we've decided you shall receive the deed to a vineyard, Corvo Bianco, and a sum of coin. You will doubtless consider this adequate. Title to the vineyard shall be given to you at once. Surely you'll need lodgings while you hunt.
Lovely, generous gesture, Your Grace. Corvo Bianco. Isn't it the Duchy's temporary morgue?
Is it now? The Chancellery's bungled things again, we fear. Not to be left unsupervised for one instant. Yet, in its mood, a morgue should present minimal problems to a witcher. What's more, nothing enhances a wine's reputation better than a grim legend.
Thank you, Your Grace. I accept the contract, of course, but as I said before... How'd it start? Who was the first victim?
Crespi was the first to die. He was famed once for his many glorious tournament victories. Then he grew old, hung up his sword, and took to winemaking.
Crespi was not loved by the wine merchants. He was ruthless in business and thought to cheat many a time. He asked us for a dispensation from all court ceremonies. We did not grant it. We could not. Once you've taken the oath of a knight, you remain a knight till death.
How'd he die? Where'd they find the body?
Quite unusual, the circumstance. He was at a feast when suddenly one of his fellow feastgoers noticed he was missing. The town watch found him an hour later. On his hands and knees, propped against the town pillory, his sword hanging from his neck. He had died of wounds inflicted with claws, not a weapon. Blows of great force.
So he died suddenly, but the body was on its knees, meaning someone posed it.
So it seems.
Second murder. Tell me what you know.
In the city there are certain nooks. No one reasonable ventures there after dark. Ramon Dulac's corpse was found in one such place. With the first murder, terror gripped the city. Its inhabitants grew wary, kept to safe areas. Consequently, news of the second victim came to us from a group of concerned cut-purses.
Criminals fear the beast? Telling in a way. Take it you've excluded the possibility that Ramon died at the hands of these bandits.
Do you believe me an amateur? Not hands, but claws killed Ramon Dulac. The wound was deep, clean.
His body was found in the gutter, dressed in nightshirt and cap, a pillow placed under his head, and his sword replaced by a bed warmer. Ramon Dulac, a knight who but a dozen years past was an advisor to our father, the Duke.
Someone went to a lot of trouble to make him look ridiculous. Maybe revenge was the motive.
It's not out of the question. Dulac had shady dealings with the criminal underworld, but no one ever came forth with concrete proof of any misdoings.
So, first two victims were knights, best years behind them.
The same could be said of the third. Sir Delacroix was wont to claim that in modern times knights face new challenges, enterprise being the latest addition to the chivalric virtues.
He made a veritable fortune in the grain trade. Palmerin even nicknamed him Sir de la Stinchi.
Found a coin pouch on his body. Contained florins dating from various times, hailing from different provinces of the Empire.
Delacroix loved coin, true, but had no patience for numismatics.
Lots of similarities between the victims. All the bodies were found in strange places under extraordinary circumstances. Seems the murderer, whoever or whatever it is, has some meaning to convey.
These were honorable men. We are horrified by the disdain, the disrespect with which they were treated. These were knights of Toussaint. Blast it.
Might be the point. From what you say, none was a model of virtue. Ever considered that's what the beast's trying to draw attention to?
All the murdered men were knights who swore fealty to the 5 chivalric virtues. And even if the
Knights of Toussaint swear fealty to what virtues exactly?
honor, wisdom, generosity, valor, and compassion.
Beast seems to be pointing up moral decay, denouncing it. Victims were all humiliated. Might have been murdered to emphasize their lack of specific chivalric virtues.
Honor compromised by the pillory. Wisdom by ridicule. Generosity by a coin pouch shoved down a throat. It seems to fit, true, though not perfectly.
Can't discount the theory if it's on the lips of everyone in town. Say our reasoning's right. Next murder will be just as showy and denounce the victim's lack of the 4th virtue, valor. We can also assume that victim will be an elder knight.
Let's think. At the moment, all the knights are either at the tourney grounds or in the palace gardens. Our annual hare hunt shall begin there shortly. Have you heard of the custom?
Milton mentioned something. Seemed excited to prance around in a bunny costume. Not sure why. Hang on. Strange circumstances. A knight advanced in years. The famed cowardice of rabbits.
Could it be that simple? Is Milton de Peyrac-Peyren the next victim?
Milton also knew Delacroix. Told me so down by the river.
Damien! To miss something so obvious. De Peyrac-Peyren, Crespi, Delacroix, and Delac formed a knightly team. It was years ago.
Your Grace, we need to find...
Rather problematic. You see, the garden entertainments are due to start, and he's disguised as the hare, hiding somewhere, waiting for some...
We must call off the game, at once.
First and foremost, we must remain calm. Damien, order the garden searched immediately, but discreetly. By no means... And you, Witcher, follow me. My god, a murder is out of the question. I will... Horses? Ready our horses! Your Grace!
What the hell? Why, I should... Your Highness,
Mind it doesn't get wrinkled. Onward! Hey! That is silk! Be careful! Give it to me!
Your Grace seems right at home in the saddle.
Clear the path! Clear the way, I said! where the game is being held. The participants must find a unicorn's horn, a golden fish, and a phoenix egg. With these in hand, they can deduce where the hag, Milton, hides.
Mean we need to find those things too?
We've no other option, but time is of. On second thought, through here. I shall show you where the hunt plays out. Then we will split up. You will get hold of the unicorn horn and the golden fish, while I nab the phoenix egg. That will be quickest.
Golden fish.
Please, Geralt. Look there, towards the water. See the lights? The hunters are trying to hook the fish from boats.
The unicorn.
It's terribly skittish, true, but I'm sure you will find a way to earn. Turns around, over there, look. The golden fish and the horn both contain things or clues that... All clear?
Fiorano of the 1290 vintage. I do encourage you to try. If one were to call a state courageous or cowardly, what other part of the state would one be?
Perhaps an apple will work. Or some sweets.
We would not be in this predicament, dear sister, were you still a virgin.
Do you really wish to have this conversation again?
Hush, or you'll spook the beast.
Hey folks, gonna have to ruin your fun. Sorry.
Who's that?
Roach won't eat bread either, except if it's stale. Roach likes carrots. Maybe Unicorn will too.
This is an outrage! An outrage, I tell you!
It's against the rules.
Crispy apple. Should like that like any other damn horse. Cold game's not likely to tempt a unicorn.
Come, gentlemen! We must catch it!
Think unicorns. Rainbows, little girls, sweets maybe? Almost had it. Damn, it doesn't have a sweet tooth. What would you say to a delicious, crunchy carrot? Easy. Gardens are huge. Be better off on horseback.
Do they pay you well, Richard? Enough for wine
easy to spot once I'm under.
What the blazes? Did someone just dive in the water?
Perhaps that's the way to do it.
Sure, if you're a peasant.
Hey, wait. Stop. It's important.
King Cormorant, sire, accept this offering we bring. Prithee cast upon us your merciful eye, and bear before us its secrets.
As the moon is heavily coursed of trace, in my domain I await that moment of grace, when a soul of good or ill repute brings me a gift, fitting tribute.
A key.
Why, you bomb-botched wretch!
He's ruined the game!
Disgraceful!
Behold the leopard from faraway Zarikania.
One more! And another two!
If you please, Your Grace.
We do not please. We act out of the highest necessity. Or shall be explained later.
But it's against the rules.
I am the rules. Geralt! At last.
Got a key and a clue.
And I've another. Show me yours. Who wrote this drivel? I begin like a crone, hollowed out with ease, then end like a mouse, with a head of hard cheese.
Too cryptic, this riddle.
Then be silent. Look, if we take Rome, hollow it out and fill it with ease. The letters, that is. We get green. Then mouse, but starting with...
Pretty clever.
There are several greenhouses in the gardens, but only one with a door that locks. And the key...
Greenhouse it is then.
budge?
What was that?
I'm here.
This belonged to you, maybe?
It did, but you may keep it. I do not know you. I've done you no harm. Yet first you butchered a Bruxer who was dear to me. Now you pursue me. Why?
You've killed 4 innocent people, at least.
And you? How many innocents have you cut down?
Plenty. Even more of the guilty, though. You're next.
I think not. You see, I've something to do still.
More murders?
Just one. Not counting yours.
Come on. I won't let you kill it.
You were to stay where you were. Regenerate!
I know you're in trouble. I can help.
I'll help myself!
No, he's my friend.
Yes, Geralt, it's me.
Regis? You alright?
All is well. All's in order. Wounds such as these heal on vampires in moments. But we've not seen one another in ages, my friend. At least in human terms, that is.
How's this even possible? Last I saw you...
I was a bubbling, shapeless smear, having been rather spectacularly melted into a column of a certain castle. In somewhat better shape now, as you can see. Hardly peak form, mind you, but were I human, folk would think me a demigod, I dare say.
I'm sorry. What happened, it was my fault. Never got a chance to apologize.
No need, Geralt. Bygones. I did not have to join you on that expedition. No one twisted my arm.
Local serial killer seems to obey you. Maybe you could talk him out of it, convince him to stop murdering.
Why do you think I've come? It shall not be easy, as Dettlaff can be rather stubborn. Though you must certainly recall that neither do I surrender readily.
So that's his name. He's your friend?
You might call it that. Though Dettlaff is... how would you humans put it? More bestial than I am. But not to worry. I'm working on him.
Haven't exactly done a great job with that. He's killed one knight since I got here. At least 3 others before.
For good reason, I'm sure. Understand, Dettlaff is not some decadent shit who kills for sport, or to assuage a dryness of throat or a dullness of mood.
So in your opinion, what are his reasons?
Precisely what I wish to find out. And...
got a lot of faith in the guy.
Despite appearances to the contrary, you two are quite alike. You've both noble hearts, yet you both are wont to perform ignoble deeds. When circumstances force you to, of course. Remember the year 964?
That was 3 centuries ago.
Blind fear gripped Rivia, Lyria, and Spala. Women and children were dying, their mutilated, dismembered...
Brute of Lyria. Read about it. Chewed up almost 200, then fell to a common poacher supposedly armed with a dagger blessed by some prophet.
It fell to Dettlaff, who then found a poacher asleep in the brush near his snares and dropped the fiend's corpse at his feet. And thus, a legend was born.
Huh. Vampires rarely help humans. Must have had his own agenda, hunting the beast.
You err. He slew it for one reason alone. The monster killed a lad who once in the street had offered Dettlaff an apple, expecting nothing in return.
Terribly noble of him.
You do not have a monopoly on altruism, my friend. Vilgefortz melted my body. Dettlaff found what was left. As per our codex, he had a choice. To leave me where I was, or to care for me and nurture my remains. He chose the latter. Regenerated me at no small expense in his own blood. Do you know what...
Probably same thing it means to a human.
Much more than that. The act itself made us blood brethren. A bond so strong humans cannot even imagine. Which is why I know something ill is afoot.
Always had an overdeveloped sense of empathy.
Each vampire has a unique talent. One they hone over centuries. It's precisely what renders us so difficult to classify. Dettlaff's trump card is his herd instinct. His tribal propensity. In point of fact, he prefers the company of lesser vampires and shuns that of humans. If he walks among you, killing egregiously, it can only mean something's upset him. Immensely.
Gotta find him, before something upsets him even more, and all Beauclair is awash with blood.
Well, we share a cause then. Just like the old days.
Not entirely. I mean, when I find him, you know.
I know you've a contract on his head. Yet your true task is to stop the beast killing, not necessarily to kill the beast, am I right?
All in all, sure.
Let us find him. By the time we do, I hope I'll have convinced you Dettlaff is no monster.
Fine, all right already. But for now, evidence is stacking up against him.
Hear that?
The posse. Knights must have tracked me here.
I'd prefer they not find me here. I've makeshift quarters at Mère Lachaise Long Cemetery. We'll meet there.
See you.
Witcher, we flew here as fast as our courses would carry us. Yet I fear we're late all the same. Pray, where is the beast?
Still investigating. About to inspect this site. Withdraw your men before they trample all over the evidence.
Sirs, we must let the Witcher do his work. Milton's murder cannot go unavenged.
You'd best behave, friend. You're in Beauclair, see?
Unto Duke Raymond. Welcome back.
Show me what... Need...
If you've one jug of wine and one friend, drink the jug of wine and send the friend for another.
Unto Duke Raymond.
Nice tune.
Such troubles were simply unimagined.
Do you know the colors I would see on the Duchy's
Ah.
banners?
Lepiotus
Red,
vis
white,
lands.
and rose.
Hey-ya!
Mountain's dry as a stockfish.
Regis. Could have picked some other place to meet.
Regis!
Damn it. Locked. No way I got the place wrong. This is it. Gotta be. Gotta be another way in around here. Riddles are plenty around here. Kicking more eggs. Need to incinerate these to ash. Some stench. Agreed to meet a vampire at a cemetery. How much more cliché can you get?
Nothing comes readily to mind.
Could have left the door unlatched.
What of my privacy? I value it rather deeply. Unmolested, especially by unwanted guests, that's my preferred state. Besides, I knew you'd find a way to get in.
True enough. Need to find your friend. I'm hoping you'll agree to help.
I shall do whatever's in my power. Yet what you want or even need must matter little. What matters is what Dettlaff wants. If he does not wish to be found, you will not find him. Ever. End of story.
Come on. Gotta be some way.
Vampires can evade detection by the senses, and no divination magic works on us. Even the most precise megascope would be useless.
And this? Could this help?
Wherever did you get that?
Off one of the beast's victims, found by a bend in the river. Body was chopped in pieces. 3 of those pieces were hands. Hand with the ring seemed the odd one out. Abruxa had taken an interest in it.
It's Dettlaff's hand, without a doubt. It will do splendidly.
The hand. What do you plan to do with it?
You've heard of Kobinaris' theory of tissue memory retention.
Rings a distant bell. Read about it in Alchemia Oblitera. There's a copy at Kaer Morhen, tattered, nearly disintegrated. But if memory serves, Kobinarius never managed to prove it worked.
He did prove it, just never managed to publish his findings. He and I corresponded, you see, after we became friends. Thus, I know he completed his research and performed the first tests. It's complicated, so without delving into details, it is possible to use any piece of tissue to reconstruct what a whole body experienced.
How's it work? We need any special equipment?
We must brew a decoction which Kovinaris gave a rather poetic name, resonance. Once imbibed, it sends one into a trance similar to that induced by narcotics. This triggers visions of events linked to strong emotions experienced by the tissue's owner. Picture it as dreaming a fragment of someone's life.
Any chance we might see what Dettlaff was doing just before he lost his hand?
Indeed. Though I also hope resonance will reveal the location of Dettlaff's hideout.
Ring's pretty intriguing. Made of no metal I've ever seen. And the ornamentation.
It comes from our home, where we lived before the conjunction of spheres. It's actually mine. You might call him a humanist. He saw us vampires as guests here, guests who owe their
respect, meaning not to treat us like cattle to be slaughtered for food.
Precisely. And the reason why I in turn gave it to Dettlaff. To remind him of the ideals my old friend championed.
Kovinaris spent half his life proving his theory. Wild guess.
You guessed correctly. In addition to Dettlaff's tissue, we shall need a powerful occipital lobe stimulant. Effectively a poison, to make one.
Well, got a few ingredients to choose from. There's Mamoon glands, but closest ones I know of are in Vizima. A spotted white saliva would also serve, but they were culled to extinction over a century ago. Could go with a kobold's eyes, but the creatures are sentient. Rather not gouge one's eyes out.
Given that we lack the time to sleuth this out ourselves, permit me to summon some help.
What was that?
A raven? Rather a common sight at this latitude. Very intelligent fowl. I asked him to look for the creatures you mentioned. Him and his brethren. Perhaps they'll find one in the area, and I would hazard that a flock of ravens will spy any said creature faster than a solitary witcher would. With all due respect to your skills, my friend. It will take them some time, nonetheless, so perhaps you'd care for a snifter of mandrake.
Rarely say no.
Sadly, this is but a weak infusion, rather...
Even better. I remember your mandrake hooch. Made people say things they'd have rather kept to themselves.
Now, what could Geralt of Rivia prefer to keep to himself?
Everyone's got some secret.
I agree wholeheartedly. I also believe it wise at times to share one's secrets, unburden oneself to those one can trust.
This your sophisticated way of asking me if I trust you?
I prefer almost always to ask you directly. It seems a test of intelligence, one you just passed.
Maybe you should go first. Reveal one of your secrets. After all, you vampires lead very interesting lives.
Anything in particular interest you?
Gotta ask you the big question. One everyone wonders about. What happens after death?
You wish me to tell you if the human belief in the gods is well-founded? Well, that I do not know. Our matter, that of which we are composed, can exist without form. We require neither a heart nor a...
But were you dead?
As humans understand death.
Feel anything?
It's rather hard to explain. I felt something very unsettling. Something I cannot even name. Only after rebirth did I begin to understand that what I had felt was cold.
Can't have been alive then. Sheesh, experience like that.
Indeed, it's hard to compare to anything I know. Yet you are aware we don't see death as you do. The way you cling to life, we find it entirely peculiar. You are mortals, ergo it's a foregone conclusion. Thus, I often find myself wondering why you try so very hard. To die at 20 years, 40, even 100, what's the difference? They're all but the blink of an eye.
Depends on your point of view. Man who's got 1,000,000 crowns to spend can't possibly understand one who's only got 20.
Very true. One's outlook can indeed change much.
Got a new life, new body.
Starting all anew is a very broad concept.
Your blood addiction, say. Wondering if your body's the same, if it still remembers. Maybe if you drank now, you wouldn't get hooked.
All addictions are a form of slavery. Re-addiction's not a risk I'm willing to take, just to test a hypothesis about corporeal regeneration and whether propensities carry over.
Fair enough. Curiosity, that's all. Sorry.
Not to worry, Geralt. Curiosity's a natural reaction under the circumstances.
All right. Give you one question. What do you want to know?
One question to ask one as fascinating as you, Geralt. Cruel parsimony, I'd say. But I shall do my... If you were to die and be reborn as I was, in your new life, would you choose to be a Witcher?
See, Regis. Doubt I'd know how to be anything else.
Ever tried?
See, you're determined to get an answer, to find out if I like being a Witcher. Just refuse to ask directly, as always. I like being on the path. I like picking up a lead, a trail. I like the tension right before a fight. And nothing gets my adrenaline flowing like battling a beast. Even gotten used to people treating me like a freak, an outcast. Yeah, not something I think about much, but I like being a Witcher.
Thank you for being honest. Honesty is an attribute of the truly brave, and thus a privilege of the very few.
Still no sign of your winged friend. Sure it understood what you wanted?
Dead certain. Let's wait a bit longer. It'll return soon, don't doubt that. Ever vigilant, even in his sleep. Quite vampire-like, in fact. Are you absolutely certain they don't administer a few of our genes during the trial of the grasses?
Far as I know, none. Now what you got for me?
You were right. No kobolds or mamoons for miles around.
Knew it.
Allow me to finish. You see, there's this spotted white. It haunts an abandoned residence.
Impossible. My brethren hunted down every last spotted white before I was born.
Then it seems you must revise your knowledge of spotted whites. For somehow this one managed to survive. It seems I know this home it haunts. Recall a tale about it. I don't recall much in particular. Really don't attach much importance.
Come on, search your memory. Something.
I believe it had a relation to hunger, or perhaps greed, rapacity. Someone was punished for something...
Textbook.
Sorry, Geralt. I try not to clutter my mind with the details of every far-fetched tale I happen... What are your thoughts? Ah, professional curiosity. Personally, I've nothing against...
Whites rarely appear in the woods, even less likely to find them in abandoned human homes. They inhabit remote wildernesses, old abandoned cemeteries.
What's your point?
This might not be a spotted white after all. Your little helper might have made a mistake.
I sincerely doubt it. Ravens are devilishly...
What exactly did they observe?
The area around the estate. It's covered in... spoons.
Spoons?
Spare me the skeptical smile. I'm but the bearer of this news. Or perhaps this spotted white is a hoarder.
Let's do this. Start making your decoction while I go get some saliva from that white.
Do you imagine the white will simply sell you some?
Worst case scenario, I'll bring you its salivary glands. They ought to do as well.
For a moment there, I imagined you asking the white to spit into a vial. Quite amusing as a thought.
So, see you later.
Yes.
Tomes? Thought you...
We require one last ingredient. Alas, obtaining it could prove a trifle toilsome.
All right. Good luck.
And to you, my friend.
That's it, Roach.
Go, go. Get a sense that the spoons are beating out some kind of rhythm, a message, trying to tell me something. None shall sit and dine with you at your table. No spoon you have shall sate you. Never again shall you wish to spy your reflection in the mirror. Sounds like a curse, all right. Somebody's clearly obsessed. Regis mentioned the place might be cursed. What a pigsty. Need to search it thoroughly. Find a way to collect some white saliva. White's obsessed. A real collector. Thoroughbred. No spoon you have shall sate you. Whatever lives here treated that literally. Still searching for the right spoon. Skeletons. Doubt they came here willingly. This have anything to do with the curse? None shall sit and dine with you at your table. It makes sense. She was changing into a monster. Recorded it in her diary. Poignant. Spoon's incredible. The craftsmanship. Must have graced a rich man's table. Actually does seem like a white's lair. A bit atypical, but still. Cauldron should be somewhere around here. Spoon. Pretty ordinary. Maybe a little old. Another spoon. Yep, just as normal as the last one. Thousands of them here. White's been a collector for years. White's obsessed. A real collector. Thoroughbred. Looking for. White's not particularly tidy. Table's set. White who lives here is getting ready for some sort of feast. White that lives here, definitely afflicted by a curse, and it's been trying desperately to lift it. Cauldron's empty, unfortunately. Regis needs some brew. Afraid he won't get that. No choice but to hide and wait for the saliva glands and their bearer. Need a spot that'll let me observe the cauldron. Spoon. Pretty ordinary. Maybe a little old. not gonna hurt you. Wanna help? I've seen the words of the curse on the walls. Think I know how to lift it. You tried to bring folk here, convince them to sit at the table with you, right? Well, I'm gonna be your guest now. Your willing guest. Just need a bit for Regis. And now we'll tend to you. This isn't right. I missed something? Didn't work. Ate that vile stuff for nothing. Got the brew for Regis at least. Can't do anything for the white though, except cut it down. Cauldron's empty, unfortunately. Regis needs some brew. I'm afraid he won't get that. We can't use spoons. No, that won't work. You've been looking for a spoon that would feed you, but there's no such spoon. We need to eat without spoons. Open your eyes. You need to see your likeness. expected. Need to see what happened to the white. Won't be hard to find given its stench. Easy. Not gonna hurt you.
Eat. I must eat.
I'll take you someplace safe. So I took her by the hand and led her here. Seemed the only sensible place for her.
You did the right thing, sir. She should recover quickly here. I'm deeply pleased, finally, to make your acquaintance, sir, though I do regret the specific circumstances. In all the commotion, I fear I neglected to introduce myself. I'm Barnabas Basil-Folty, and by order of the Duchess, I am to serve as your major domo at Corfo Bianco.
Nice to meet you, Barnabas Basil. Love to talk more, but got urgent matters to attend to. While I'm gone, please make sure she gets everything she needs.
Don't worry, sir. I shall see to everything. She is safe here and in good hands. She'll soon be back on her feet.
Might actually take a while. She hadn't eaten anything in over 100 years when I found her.
Horrid. Whatever brought this about?
Told me her story on the way here. Her name's Marlena. She was once the very beautiful and proud heiress to the Trastamara estate. One evening, when she was holding a banquet for friends, a beggar came to her gate seeking alms. He had a bowl and a spoon with him.
I've heard of the custom. An ancient rite of hospitality that obliges one to give food and drink to such a guest lest he depart hungry. To neglect the custom is to...
Marlena didn't care a whit for the old customs. She drove the man off, saying she'd rather feed the leftovers from her feast to her dogs than to give the beggar. The beggar then broke his spoon, cast a curse. She was beautiful, so he said she'd never wish to look at herself in the mirror again. Since she adored feasts, he swore no one would ever wish to sit and dine with her. And as she even refused him the crumbs from her table, he swore she'd never find a spoon in the world that would sate her hunger.
A harsh punishment.
Curses are tricky. They play on irony. Marlena had spent decades looking for a way to lift it. Transformed into a white, she stole spoons and lured folk into her home, trying each time to get them to dine with her.
So what did?
Someone had to sit down and share a meal with her, of their own free will. They had to eat without using spoons, and make her look at her reflection.
That's it?
Simplest solutions are sometimes the last. Besides, when you're a white, it's pretty damn hard.
I imagine so. But most important...
Vineyard comes across as a place with a rich history.
Baron Rossel, who went bankrupt, forcing him to sell the estate to the Duchess. The Baron, in turn, had purchased it from Monsieur Bolius of the Headsman.
He was actually a headsman?
No, not him, but his great-grandfather. Indeed. Apparently, he was a common cut-purse who... He never hesitated. not once. Never sliced. Monsieur Bolius, on the other hand, was an engineer in his younger years. Sadly, misfortune struck, and he lost his sense first of smell, then of taste. Addition?
Shame that.
Not at all. He made even more of it. Began throwing wild balls to which he'd invite friends from far and wide, in order to treat them to his wine and delight in the fact.
Thanks.
A pleasure.
Whoa, Barnabas Basil. One thing you ought to know. I'm not your typical landed gentleman.
Oh, in that case, you must leave.
Great. Cannot. Thanks.
I thank you. So tasty. Oh, so good.
Think your friend's hand will make for a nice broth?
You've clearly honed your sense of humor. But we are not cannibals, Geralt. I took a fragment of tissue from their hand. It will suffice to prepare some resonance.
What did you do with the rest?
I cremated it, as our codex commands. A raven told me you'd acquired the necessary ingredient.
Send your spy.
My watchers. Were something to go wrong, I could then arrive quickly to help.
Managed fine alone, but thanks for the thought. Gonna need much longer.
That, I fear, might prove troublesome. You see, to use the concoction to summon the memories of one, the solution must contain the blood of another specimen of the same...
Shouldn't be a problem. I happen to know a higher...
It's not that simple, I'm afraid. While you were away...
Not sure I understand what the problem is.
The blood must be in an agitated state. As I'm certain you know, higher vampires can change their corporeal shell. As our flesh changes, to make a long story short, I shall need to induce in myself a state of strong psychokinetic arousal. In brief, madness, rabidity. And that stands to be very...
All right.
We shall visit Tesha Mudna, an ancient vampire estate. There we will find cages suspended in the air. Beasts you will then kill. The bloodletting should prove profuse. Abundant enough so that the blood scent will drive me mad. Wild.
Tesham Mutna.
It is a place of torment. A torture chamber. Long ago, shortly after we'd arrived in this world, one among us named Kagmar developed such a taste and lust for human blood that in one night he could imbibe an entire village. This brought trouble on the entire species. Common folk wearied quickly of living in constant fear. They began to hunt it.
So what?
But they were bothersome. Forgive the comparison, but when did you last enjoy mosquitoes buzzing around your head? In any case, the other vampires decided something had to be done. Kagmar had to be caught and punished. A torture chamber was thus outfitted in the dungeons of Tesham Mutna. Inside it, a cage made entirely of a special alloy of silver. Kagmar was captured and locked in the cage. Sat there over 2 centuries, driven to fury time after time, never able to escape.
See no reason to dawdle.
In a moment.
What was that?
Blood. Oh, the last favor the Raven did me. I've also taken some Sancurium, a solution that sharpens one's sense of smell. 1 drop of blood shall smell like a gallon to me now.
You crazy? You're a recovering addict.
Your outrage warms my heart, Geralt. As things stand, the die is cast. High time we set off for Tesham Mutna. My head's spinning already, and you're starting to smell quite tasty.
And you're starting to scare me.
We have arrived. The sacrificial...
Sure you know what you're doing?
I can only hope I do. Please, let's go. The longer we delay, the less control I shall have of my faculties. I'd really prefer not to hurt you.
You lead. Scurvers must be getting close to their feet.
Correct. Beyond this wall lies...
an ancient vampire dungeon.
I feel honored. A man with such a wealth of
How the hell?
It's an ancient form of protection against unwanted guests. The mechanism which releases the latch reacts only to a higher vampire's blood.
Tricky mechanisms. A vampire hideout. Fortified, secured. Must have been important to your species once. Toussaint.
It shall always be so. During the conjunction, the gate from our world into this one opened upon this land and no other. This was the first place we saw.
This place. There's evil here. Death hangs in the air.
Yes. Great many beings have breathed their last here.
glyphs are carved into the rock. Coated with blood used to be. They mean something?
They're emblems, symbols of, well, what you would call tribes, dispersed throughout the world after the conjunction. My ancestors placed them here to remind us of where we came from.
Cells? Who for?
Ah, disgraceful. Excruciatingly so, this particular page from our history. I'd rather not summon the demons of the past if it's all right with you.
And this one? Which tribe's this?
Garisham. My tribe, and Deadlouse. We both remained in this part of the world.
And this one? Which tribe's this?
Garisham. My tribe, and Deadlouse.
Charming place. But what are all those cages for? Mentioned one vampire being kept here.
Yes, well, you see, humanitarians is something my ancestors were not. They concluded Kagmar would best be punished if he were tormented with the scent of blood he could not taste. Thus, they also kept humans here. Humans whose blood they slowly let. Kagmar ranted and raged in pain as those humans slowly bled to death.
They treated them like livestock. Live bait.
I'd like to be able to turn back time. Deny it, but alas, I can do neither.
Don't take it so hard. Nothing...
Well, that was awkward. Fine. I prepared the bait. Please be so kind and place it. Ideally at the tunnel entrances. The scent will spread. Place the bait at the tunnel entrances. Monsters will catch its scent more quickly.
When I think how these tunnels got here, sends shivers.
It was the natural order of things. The place reeked of death and it attracted necrophages.
Three done. One left. Think this'll work?
I certainly hope so. Meat's stench is so thick, I wager it carries clear to Novigrad.
Bait set. What now? Maybe we need a safe word. You know, something you'll say when you can't take it anymore.
And what would you do once I uttered it?
Don't know. Calm it down. Somehow.
You won't be able. You must forge through this, that is all.
You just smelled the blood. dry in a few hours. Scent won't bother me. Get you out of here.
The concoction.
You can't finish it in this state. Tell me how. I'll help you. Any better?
Far from ideal. And some time must pass before I fully recover. But yes, a bit better, thank you.
Never expected it to be like that.
We need not discuss it.
But we do. Because if I'd known you were going to subject yourself to torture...
What would you have done?
Found Dettlaff some other way.
I did not wish you to use any other way. Did that occur to you?
No, because I thought no being would ever willingly subject itself to that kind of pain. You vampires aren't any different from us in that regard.
I told you, the pain is my way of paying my debt. The enormous debt I owe Dettlaff. If I had to do it again, I would in a heartbeat.
Resonance. It's ready.
Are you certain you followed the formula? The proportion... This is important, Geralt.
Relax. Got some experience brewing potions.
Very well. In that case, let's begin.
Excuse me. I shall only take a moment.
You jumped the queue, sir.
But Count, sir, you must understand. I've a meeting. The Count...
Sir, you were next. Please, take a seat. This gentleman was here first. Step down or you shall regret it.
Ah, failed to realize he was your friend, Count.
It was then I ordered him to give up his seat and step off the stand. If only you'd seen his face. We got him good, didn't we, Dettlaff? And then Mother insisted we buy the mill. Curious, eh? But at least I've a yarn to spin for friends and associates. Forgive me. What?
Awake at last. You ride like a squirrel caught in a snare. I'd begun to fear they were death throes, that you'd departed. What did you see?
Delacroix. His death did not come easy. Seems Dettlaff had made friends with him. Still killed him, and chopped up his corpse. And he was overcome with fury, remorse. Cut off the hand that had committed the murder.
Interesting. And entirely unlike the Dettlaff I know. See anything else?
Saw a moment. Delacroix did something selfless. Was kind to Dettlaff. Guess it could have been the start of their friendship.
Why the uncertainty?
Nothing extraordinary about it. Normal, everyday situation, really. Visions were supposed to issue from strong emotions.
Clearly the situation provoked such emotions in Dettlaff. Keep in mind, he did later murder Delacroix.
Killing someone who's grown dear to us, it's bound to elicit strong emotion. Vampires I note, did you see anything else?
There was something. Showed up twice in the vision. A bootblack stand.
Peculiar.
Stand was somewhere in the Port District.
Perhaps we should have a chat with the lad.
It's our only lead.
I shall join you later if it's no trouble. I don't yet feel...
That's fair.